Hey Loran, great to meet you on Friday and see you again yesterday. Just wanted to do this video overview. I tried to record it twice now. It's been playing up, so hopefully this time it works. We gave you 4 particular drills. They all have a certain purpose. I'll explain the purposes to you and the reasons why you're doing them. The number one thing we're trying to achieve here is a different function in your right arm and right hand, controlling the face of the club differently, controlling the width in your swing differently, controlling the rotation in the arc of the shaft differently, and also controlling the path of the swing differently as well. So trying to get the path of the swing more square through, not so much out to the right, trying to have less rotation in the shaft of the club in the takeaway and have it more straight back, trying to get more width in your right arm away from your right side, trying to get your right hand to support the club and control the club's movement more. The other thing that's different is that at the top of the backswing we're trying to get the club to be supported with your right hand rather than crossing the line. This is the first drill we gave you here, and we can see when you start moving, this is the first practice movement. The club shaft, you feel like you're pointing that club out away from you here, trying to get that club shaft pointed into your right hip. And you can see with this one here, it's not quite into your right hip already, so it's not enough. We need to have that shaft more pointing back this way at this point, which will feel like the head of the club's not moving that much and the handle is moving more across, which is what should happen at the start. We need to have a certain point of rounding in the golf swing. The rounding needs to occur once the club gets beyond your right leg, not from the start, which you tend to have a lot of rounding at the start, which creates a lot of the issues in your golf swing. So once you've got to that position from here, we're then trying to get the shaft to round correctly. When it rounds correctly, we're trying to get the weight of the club to be balanced into your index finger and your middle finger of your right hand. So the club now, you can see the face of the club's perfectly square and it's also balanced and on plane. Now obviously when your left hand joins your right hand is going to be a little bit different. That's okay though, we're not worried about the left arm at this stage. We haven't talked about it at all. So it has some roles, it has some things it's going to do. We haven't been specific with it yet. We'll get specific with it when we have time. When it's the right time, sorry. The next drill we gave you was to gain an understanding of feel of what the club needs to do more impact. We can see here with the backswing the head of the club's going too far around the corner. So that's that rotation of the shaft we're talking about. That shaft there wouldn't be pointing back at your hip. So we're not concerned about that with this drill. This is just more to get a feel for where you're naturally moving, and I don't want you to try and manipulate the backswing in this drill. Feeling like you're coming through, skipping a stone, feeling like your right hand, the knuckles in your right hand are working more under, the head of the club is passing you. We can see here now that the back of your right hand here is still has a lot of angle back towards your wrist. So we know that with that position, the right hand still hasn't let go early enough to return the shaft to the club and square the shaft of the club back up. We've pulled your right foot back here to discourage your body from rotating more than what it should do. So when the club comes through, we're trying to get the club to come through with more loft, and I feel like the right hand's working under. Now you feel like your right hand's working under here, but that's really, really good. You can just see how flat the back of your right hand is here. Still working a bit to the left, that's fine. The ball's probably going to go to the right here on you quite often. The club face here at this point is shut down ever so slightly, but it's nowhere near as much as normal. So that's a good positive sign. We'd like to see that club face at this point still be in line with the shaft more up this way rather than your current motion is over here. So you've improved that about probably 20 degrees already. It's got about another 5 to 10 to go. So looks really good. Those shots are just those pitch shots coming back and through, half swings. Obviously another objective with this is to get, when we deliver the club correctly, the club is going to hit the ground very differently coming through. You get more of the sole of the club hitting the ground, less of the leading edge hitting the ground. When leading edge hits the ground, it sticks in, turns over, you get those big divots and those left swinging divots. The third drill we gave you was really quite simple. It was feeling like you had the club up, balanced at knee high with the club. I didn't record this drill, but what the objective was to, this is kind of more for your left arm. We didn't really talk about that in the lesson, but this is what we want to get in the swing through, and yet again this is more for impact. Because you've had the club face so shut down in your right hand, you tend to block the shaft off a lot through impact. So we want to have the club hovering at knee high, feeling like it's rotating back around behind you and then rotating through back around behind you. The main objective with this is to get the shaft of the club rotating a whole bunch more through the impact zone, so your arms and hands can get used to that feeling of the shaft squaring up. That's one of the components that controls the direction the ball goes. So if we can have the shaft squaring up more, then your hands won't have to shut the face down to make the ball go straight. Now, one of the reasons that we want to do this is that we're trying to get everything throughout your bag entirely to have a similar motion. Now, your irons, they go a little bit left and they're decent, but when you get to a driver, it's hooking quite a lot. So we need to change the way the face of the club works. The club face has the biggest impact upon the direction your swing goes, so the direction your ball goes. However, it is only one of the controlling factors. There's the path and there's also the squaring of the shaft. The squaring of the shaft also has a big play upon what happens with the direction the ball goes as well, because it has a big impact upon what's happening with the face of the club. We'll talk more about this in time. I guess this is probably pretty new information to you, so if there's any questions, please feel free to ask. This is the last drill we gave you, drill number 4. Drill number 4 was the feeling of basically feeling like your right arm, your arms in general are quite wooden and wide, and that you weren't breaking your arms down at all. Now, there's some contrived points here, but we're trying to minimise movement. This position here looks so much better. When we come through, it looks so much better. It's really forcing your body not to drop back behind as much as it normally would. You can see through impact here, your body's a lot more square. With the swings we looked at during the lesson, your right elbow and right arm was dropping down a long way behind you. Your body was also getting more angle here than what you currently have. That's even too much angle. It's actually pretty close to what you need. It's probably a little bit too much. And then coming through as well, we're trying to get the same thing. So your arms are finished up high, you're finished up more in balance, you're not hanging so much in the follow through. This is a good drill, pretty simple drill. It's a minimising of movement. We'll need to add movement back in to give you the correct motions, but this whole purpose is to minimise movement. So we gave you a system to work through here with your practice. We said 20 balls for the drills, so five balls with each of the drills, and then I would like you to hit 5 to 10 balls with a normal swing, not thinking too much, just letting it kind of integrate into what you'd normally do. And with the purpose of that is that we're trying to constantly reconfigure your subconscious to get used to the new movements. And obviously, when you go out in the golf course and play, you're diligent about working through this, but we still need to be out of our own way somewhat as well. If we're too much in our own way, then you will be likely to not do as well as you could potentially do. Mixing the old with the new is a skill and takes a smart process to have everything work together. So good luck with the practice, Loran. It's nice to meet you, and I look forward to hearing your progress.